For forever, accounting has been about people meticulously poring over numbers. But that's all changing. Today, we're going to dive into how artificial intelligence is marching into the world of auditing and completely rewriting the rules for how businesses get a handle on their own finances. I know, it sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, right? Could a robot really be your next auditor? But it's actually becoming a reality. And forget those clunky old-school robots. We're talking about incredibly sophisticated AI that can spot one tiny fraudulent transaction in a sea of millions. An AI that learns from every single audit it does, and, get this, it works 24/7. No coffee breaks needed.
I mean, the difference here is just night and day. The old way of auditing meant slogging through mountains of paperwork, checking samples by hand, a process that's not only slow, but always runs the risk of human error. AI just completely flips that on its head. It offers continuous analysis at a speed that's hard to even wrap your mind around. This isn't just about doing things faster. It's about making the entire audit more trustworthy and giving companies a way truer picture of their financial health.
So, to finally tackle these age-old challenges, the time, the cost, the errors, the industry found its catalyst, and that catalyst is artificial intelligence. This is not just another software upgrade, you guys. It's a fundamentally new way to get the job done. So what is AI actually doing here? Well, think of it like a superpowered assistant for the human auditor. It can read and understand every single contract, invoice, and expense report in a company in seconds. That's a job that would literally take a human team months to complete. So it's all about augmenting human intelligence, not just replacing it. And the promise here? It goes way beyond just doing the old job faster. Yeah, of course, it saves time, effort, and money. But the real magic is how it improves the quality of the financial information itself. By automating all those tedious tasks, like checking journal entries, it frees up these highly skilled professionals to focus on what they do best: complex analysis, strategic thinking, and actually advising their clients. Okay, so that all sounds amazing on paper, right? But what happens when the rubber meets the road? To find out, we're going to look at a 2023 study from Saudi Arabia. Now, this is a country that's investing a ton of money in technology, which makes it the perfect real-world test case for AI's impact. This is where we see if all that promise actually holds up. So the researchers, they gathered data from 38 different audit firms. This gives us a really solid on-the-ground picture from the professionals who are actually using these tools day in and day out. And these weren't all just the same kind of company either. In fact, check this out. The survey included a fantastic mix of firms. You've got the massive Big Four global players, but also smaller international firms and a ton of local firms. And this is so important because it shows us that AI's impact isn't just a thing for the corporate giants. It's being felt across the entire industry, top to bottom. Okay, now, look at this. While most firms, almost 87% are using standard auditing software, a full 50%, half of them, have already adopted specific artificial intelligence tools. This isn't some trend that's coming in the future. It is happening right now. All right, so the stage is set. Half the firms they surveyed are using AI. What was the verdict? Did it actually live up to the hype? Did it really improve their performance? Well, the study gave us some incredibly clear answers on that.
And in number one benefit, this probably won't surprise you, was exactly what you'd expect. A huge savings in cost, time, and effort. This is the practical, bottom-line impact that gets every single business leader to sit up and pay attention. And just how much did they agree? Well, on a scale of 1 to 5, the auditors gave AI an average score of 4.47 for its ability to save resources. That's not just a minor improvement, folks. That is overwhelming, near-unanimous agreement from the people on the front lines. But here's where it gets really interesting. Saving time and money? That's just the tip of the iceberg. The study found that the real revolution is how AI is fundamentally improving the quality and the intelligence of the audit itself.
And I mean, just look at the scores here. AI helps auditors figure out what information is actually important, what they call materiality. It helps firms get a real competitive edge, it improves the whole team's performance, and, this is critical, it reduces the overall risk of the audit. We're talking about core professional challenges being solved by this technology.
The study's own conclusion really just says it all. The researchers found that, flat out, firms using AI see it as a useful tool that directly increases the performance of individual accountants and the entire firm. It doesn't get much clearer than that. It's a powerful endorsement.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? What does this massive shift really mean for the future of accounting? Well, all the evidence suggests the answer isn't about replacement, it's about collaboration. The future is human plus machine. And let's get one thing straight, because I know what you're thinking. This is not the part where the robots take over. The data is pretty clear. The role of the accountant is not going away. It's evolving. It's becoming something more strategic, more analytical, and honestly, way more interesting. Think about it. When you let the AI handle the enormous task of processing all that data, the human accountants can finally shift their focus upward. They go from just checking the numbers to analyzing what those numbers actually mean. And this is where people excel, building relationships with clients, understanding the big picture, and giving the kind of strategic advice that actually builds a business. And that brings us to a really critical point. It's kind of a wake-up call. As one source that was cited in the study puts it, professionals simply cannot compete anymore without understanding these new tools. The message is loud and clear. Adapting to this technology, it's no longer optional if you want to succeed. So that leaves us with this one last big question to think about. If AI is going to handle all the heavy lifting, all the data crunching, what's the new job for the human accountant? Well, it's to provide the wisdom, the judgment, and the strategic insight that no machine can ever replicate. And in a world that's getting more and more automated, that actually makes the human expert more valuable than ever before.